Hello, everybody. Here we are for another Tuesday night chat. Rosie is not going to be here tonight. She let me know ahead of time that she couldn't be here, which is fine. And she'll be back next weekend, and or not next weekend, next Tuesday. My bad. In the meantime, trying to put together a panel. I got Matt from Resisted Tyranny and Blue 823. And I expect a pretty decent chat as always. If nothing else, we're going to sit around and bullshit. So if y'all want to introduce yourselves, I'll start with Blue. Go ahead, man.
Not much really to say. I just put a new video up on. Everybody knows I love the Streamlight family. I just added a new Stylus Pro to the family. Great little light. Also, just a real quick reminder, I got a giveaway that's ending on the 25th, so if you guys are interested, get in on it.
And Matt, go ahead.
Awesome. I'm going to check out that giveaway. And if you don't mind, TR, at some point in time during the chat, I want to get if Blue's big on lights, I want to get his opinion on a light that I am expecting in the mail tomorrow from Amazon. But Matt from Resist Tyranny, Guns, Gear, and Politics here on YouTube. ResistTyranny.com. Thanks for having me on, TR. Yeah, we'll figure something out tonight. It'll be great as always.
Yeah, yeah. I don't expect nothing less. We always have a good chat. Hell, go ahead and start with a light. That's Blue. I know he does have a lot of knowledge of flashlights, being in the police. So go ahead.
Oh, that's right. I forgot. Blue's a cop.
Now he's not going to talk to me. Yar, damn it.
I forgot all about God.
I think he just muted me. He just muted me. No, I'm just kidding.
Okay.
I know what this chat's going to revolve around.
I got all kinds of police brutality stuff I'd love to talk about tonight, by the way. Let me find it here in my where's it at? My orders. What it is, arriving tomorrow by 8 p.m. is tack fire. You ever heard of tack fire?
I have not, but I'm going to look it up as you're talking about it.
Capital T, lowercase AC, capital F, lowercase IRE. No spaces. It's a tack fire Cree LED T5 150 lumen. It's a rifle light, so it's got the Picatinny clamp on it with the cord and the pressure switch for $29. Aluminum housing. I wish I could do this and show you, but the phones are too bright.
Well, I have to say I do have experience with the Cree, which I think is a reference to the type of LED it is, and that's what I've been carrying for the last couple of years. I got two of these. I know it's not the same name brand, but they have Cree. Shit, I don't know what it is. It don't say it on it, but it's some type of Cree number 5, Cree 5, or something like that. And on this AR, that's what that is. It's supposed to be 1,500 lumens or something like that. It may only be 800 lumens. I don't know. I don't know how to judge lumens. All I can go by is what they say. But I will say, like this little flashlight, with the rechargeable battery, charger, and flashlight, this is an ultra fire, not the same as you're talking about, but probably something similar. I like $20 on Amazon, $25. Yeah. Man, well, I've been carrying one for, I guarantee you, over 2 years. I think it's been over 3 years now, and I have dropped this son of a bitch from 10, 20 foot. I actually dropped one of them in water, You know, I mean,
Yeah.
which it is supposed to be waterproof, but anyway.
Let's see if this picture shows up on camera. That way, if Blue is looking, he can.
Yeah, I'm looking at the exact same one on Amazon right now. Then,
Okay.
and
That's
would you pay for it?
$29.
Yep, that's what. Okay, it's still for that. Yeah, I don't have any experience with the Cree or the TacFire series, but it's something I definitely look into because the stuff that we get issued to us for the rails on ours, it's a dumb system, and I can't even remember who makes it. But instead of having the pressure switch with the cord and everything, so you don't have to fumble around with the switch, you have to find the thumb switch, and it's
No.
either you have like you turn it one way for a dead man switch, or you have to turn it the other way for it to stay on, and it's definitely a downfall. But for that price, you can't go wrong to at least check it out.
And the top side, if you're on that page and you can scroll through the pictures, on the top side, there's the clamp that hold it to your rifle.
Right.
Well, on the back side of the light, it has a built-in rail, so you can mount like if I wanted to put that where my sling swivel is on my rail, I could put the light on there and then actually mount my sling to the back side of the flashlight if I wanted it on the right side and use the thumb switch, or if I wanted to mount a laser on top of it or something like that. So it's got its own Picatinny rail as well.
Yeah, see that's a good feature. Yeah, the lights that we have has the laser built into it. It's like the selector switch on it. You can turn just the laser on, just the flashlight on, or both on at the same time. Uh, it's an expensive light. I mean, it was like 170, 180 bucks, and I think they're garbage.
Yeah, I'm not big on lasers anyway, but as far like TR, what you were saying, this here is a $5 Ozark Trail flashlight, 150 lumens. I've had it wet. I've shot this shotgun a bunch of times with it on there, and it still works, so it handles the recoil just fine. Fits 1-inch scope rings, and that motherfucker, I mean, it's pretty bright. And it's got a low setting and a strobe.
Yeah, for home defense, my other AR, I have a Rayovac. I think it's a 80 or 100 lumen flashlight on it. I got the Picatinny rail mount up front, and I did the same thing, 1-inch scope mounts, and it's just a fucking light I bought at the grocery store. I mean, it light up a room. That's all I needed to do for the most part. I don't use it for my job like Blue may do.
Yeah.
So yeah, for $30, you can really $30-$40 is. I won't say that's all you have to spend on your defense weapon, but as a average gun owner in a average situation, that's probably all you need, in my opinion.
Well, when it's your home defense, like that shotgun, I take it out every once in a while. Other than that, it sits in the corner behind that or the bedroom door. That flashlight does not get abuse. I turn it on every once in a while, make sure it still works. That's about it. And we actually have several of those flashlights in the house because they come in 2-packs for $10 with batteries. And you just can't beat it. And they're nice, bright flashlights. They fit in your pocket real well. They fit in mag pouches real well. But for home defense, the 1 in 1,000 chance you'll ever use it to begin with, you only have to see down your hallway. That's it. You have to see to the other side of your 15-foot room. And like you said, if a SWAT guy, military, something like that, it's not getting beat up like those guys, beat their stuff up. Now, this light that I ordered on Amazon, that TacFire, that's going on my AK. and going down to the border with me this weekend, where we're going to be doing some stuff at night.
Now,
Well,
with your, oh, go ahead, T.
I was just going to say the technology has advanced so much that you can get a lot of light for a minimal amount of money now. It's not like it was 10 years ago. Now, don't get me wrong, and I know Blue knows this. Your high-end lights have advanced that much more too. So I'm not downing them. I'm just saying the stuff that we can get for 20, 30 bucks now is what was 200 bucks 10 years ago.
And what you're paying for with the high end light is the customer service along with the lifetime warranty. I mean that's basically, I mean, which is, it's a good deal because I mean we go through, I don't want to say we go through them a lot, but you figure they're getting dropped, thrown, used in ways they probably shouldn't be used sometimes, and you need that lifetime warranty. But the question I had for Matt was, the range that you go to, does that have, are you allowed to go out there for nighttime shoots?
Yeah. Oh, where I go is BLM land. Yeah, we can do anything we want out there.
All right. Have you tried shooting a moving target with the, I don't know, I prefer strobe for pretty much anything, just for the disorienting part of it. Whenever you're, clearing a room or something, some people don't agree with that because they think you're going to miss things. But if you actually come onto a target and you have a strobe versus a solid beam, that's, you just have that disorienting factor. Have you ever shot at I don't know if you guys have moving targets where you can shoot at with a strobe on? That's tough.
I've never shot a moving target with a strobe on. I have shot at night with a strobe, just testing it out to see how it works out. Because a lot of people don't realize shooting at night with a flash, with a light on your gun, is a lot different than shooting during the day.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot different. I'm personally not a fan of strobes because they disorient me as well.
Yeah, some people do have huge issues with strobes.
I understand their purpose, and I understand they work. But if it's really, really, really dark, like turn all the lights off in the house to where it's pitch black, and you kick on that strobe, I get as fucked up as the person I'm pointing it at.
It does that to some people.
Yeah, I was wondering if that might be something, if you were to actually train with a couple times, if you become a little bit more accustomed to it, because we set, it's basically milk jugs on a zip line system. It's just a small grade, one end to the other. One person will release the milk jug. You have the strobe on, and you have to acquire your target with the strobe on and shoot it before it hits the end point. And if you get decent with that, I don't know if you become more accustomed to it or what have you, but it works out pretty good.
Well, I imagine just like anything else with training, you become better and more accustomed to it. So I would guess you're probably correct. If I actually went out and did more night shooting, I would probably, it'd probably be different for me. But yeah, I can do as much shooting at night as I want.
Yeah, I'd suggest doing that. I mean, you figure all of our light bars anymore, they're the LED strobes, so we have a lot of, we're already kind of accustomed to it, and then you just add the strobe onto the flashlight, and it just adds more.
Yeah. Yep, you guys pull me over for not having a seatbelt on because it's unsafe, so you park your damn car on the side of the road with all your fucking lights going, blinding everybody else, because that's safe.
It is. It is. that whole moth effect, that's the greatest. I've been hit 3 times in 15 years.
Actually, like your car's been hit, or you hit?
No. So far, I've been able to get out of the way, but yeah, my car's been hit 3 fucking times.
Damn, that's crazy.
It's not like I'm sitting around a corner where you can't see me coming. I mean, every time I've been hit, it is on a straight stretch.
Yeah. There was a a cop inadvertently saved the guy's life here. It's been a few months ago now. This guy broke down on the side of the road on the interstate I-85 straightaway, pure straightaway. I mean, straight for a couple of miles there. And a police officer pulled over and talked. The guy didn't want to leave his car. This is the way the story goes. But he talked him into, hey, let me take you, up to. He was out of gas or whatever it was. Somehow he got him out of the car and was taking him down the road. Not arresting him or anything, just trying to help him out. And sure enough, while they was going to the gas station or whatever, a 18-wheeler ran slam over that car. I don't know what he was doing, checking his radio, just doing something, but he ran into the emergency lane and flattened that fucking car.
Yep.
I mean, totally destroyed it. And the transfer truck somehow took a left turn and climbed the embankment. I mean, it was like a big fucking mess, but inadvertently the police officer saved his life, because if he'd let him sit there in his car, he'd have been mush.
Yep. And if that would have happened, it would have been the cop's fault because nobody was around to help the guy out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Hunts for Food asked if I'd shot any of the DDI AKs yet. No, I haven't. I want to, but I have not. I've heard they've gotten better though.
What kind of AK was that?
The DDI brand.
Yeah.
They took over Waffenwerks. They took over Waffenwerks AKs, and Waffenwerks was kind of a junk AK. I mean, don't get me wrong. There's people out there that have had good ones, but as a general rule, they were kind of junk. But ever since DDI took them over, I've heard they've gotten a lot nicer.
Yeah, there's so many different AKs out there that I guess somebody, if they really want an AK, or if they want, I don't say really want, but if they want an AK, you probably need to do your research on them, because there's so many variants of it. I'm sure most of them are good, but I know you. Yeah, oh, okay. I started to say, you named one that you said to stay away from totally, but
Stay the hell away from IO.
okay.
Like the clap. I mean, stay away from it.
Yeah. I'd say my Chinese one works great. That's all.
Yeah,
I
other
know.
than that, most of them out there in the market are really good. I mean, either good or really good.
Mm.
But there's really not a bad one on the market right now, except for IO.
What kind do you have? The one that you always have in your videos?
The one that's painted up camouflage is a GP75, which is basically a Romy. It's basically a Romanian rifle. And then my all black one, which is the one in my earlier AK videos, is the Hungarian AMD 64, and it's actually an FEG built rifle. Not a parts kit that was shipped here.
Mm-hmm. How about the? Seems like I keep seeing Yugos. Is that the one I keep seeing from Century Arms?
The underfolders?
It may be. I don't know. Century Arms. I probably got a damn catalog later. Seems like that's one I've been seeing, or maybe it's Romanian. I don't know. One of the two. I can't remember. And they're in the 550 range, whatever they were.
Yeah, Yugos are good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the Yugos are good. Matter of fact, I want to get the Yugo underfolder as my next one.
Yeah.
It's got all black polymer furniture, well, the foregrip, and then it's got the steel underfolding stock that the vertical part flips flat,
Mm-hmm.
It folds under. Yeah, it's. I know a couple people that have those, and they're fun to shoot, and they fold up easy. That's the nice part. Is they fold up real easy, and unlike like if you go get the Tapco or some of these other side folders that you replace, the aftermarket ones, they fold on the fucking side of the charging handle.
Well, that's fucked up.
And technically, yes, it still works and the charging handle clears, but it only clears by like a tiny bit.
Wow.
And they're still a pain in the ass to use. Even the Ace ones that fold that way, some of them fold the opposite direction, which are cool, but then people don't like that because when it folds the opposite direction and you have a slung, it sticks off your body further because the stock is on the other side, so you just can't make anybody happy. That's why I say go with the underfolder.
Yeah, yeah. Mine has, if I'm not mistaken, it's the Polish design side folder. So, but it's it's nowhere near the bolt.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah. Kind of
I
hard
like
to
that.
do with one hand. I got a rat with paracord, but anyway. So even with it folded, it's well out of the way of everything. I mean, I can still work the magazine release and all that. So I like it. Only thing I don't like, it would probably be more comfortable to shoot if it had a wooden stock on it or a regular stock. That's why I wrapped the what they call a wire stock. So it's a little more comfortable on the cheek because something that heavy. I mean, that just steel up against your cheek was a little bit uncomfortable, and that cushioned it enough to make it a lot more comfortable to shoot. So. But I like a folding stock. It does have options. When Red Dawn happens and I got to be riding down the road with in my pickup truck, this is a lot more maneuverable to shoot out the window and shit like that.
Well, that's one of the things I'm thinking about changing this stock out of my shotgun to from the sixth position to that one. I don't know who makes it, but it folds up to over the top.
Mm-hmm.
I've been thinking about changing that out to that.
Yeah.
And it's got it's got a shell carrier in the stock, so I would get rid of the side saddle and just have that on there.
Yeah, I can see that.
Tyler East asked a question out in the chat room. I knew we'd find stuff to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
Tyler East, where'd you go, buddy? 5.56 versus 7.62 by 39. 5.56 versus the 7.62. Depends on what you're doing with it. If you're, say, in the woods or even the desert, and you don't have a whole lot of barriers to penetrate, go with the 5.56. You're going to get a little longer distance out of it, and you don't have to worry about the barrier penetration. If you're in an urban situation, I would go with nothing less than the 7.62 by 39. It's got far superior barrier penetration, and that's what you need in an urban environment. That's my answer.
Yeah, Matt, that fold-up stock you were talking about with the shell carrier on it, that's the ATI version.
Okay, ATI. Okay.
Yeah, but the difference between a 223 and a 7.62, man, they ballistically on paper they look vastly different, but in real life they're pretty close. I'll have to say close range. Yeah, I don't even know if I can say that. I was shooting and I did a video on it. I got this like half-inch plate, made of cut out a circle, half-inch plate, shooting at about 50, 75 yards. I don't know how far I was back now, but it was cold rolled steel. You know what I'm talking about, Matt? And shooting 223 and 7.62 at it, they made about the same indent in that damn metal. I was actually amazed. I figured the 7.62 would tear it up worse than the 223, but where the 223 lacks in weight and caliber, it made up in velocity. I'm not saying that it's going to perform the same everywhere in every situation, but just shooting at that steel plate, I was amazed at how close they were in penetration. I mean, the indents were almost identical. I could tell a difference. The 30 cal did make a bigger indent, but as far as depth, what they dented it in, you know, how far they dented it was about the same, and it was just like, wow. I mean, it amazed me because I figured the 7.62 would be far superior in a short range like that, but at the same time, that don't mean in a urban environment going through sheetrock, 2x4s, and shit like that, that heavier bullet still may perform better. So
Yeah.
I
When it comes to like penetration and actually, Blue, you may have done some of this. I don't know, but shooting through windows, especially car windows. I'm not saying as a cop you've done this like to people. I'm just like in training. We'll get into how cops shoot people in cars too often later.
They've got to be unarmed.
But one of the problems when shooting through even a side window, not to mention a front or back window, is that with a 5.56 the trajectory changes. The bullet hits and goes boot, and 7.62 by 39 goes straight through. It stays on path.
Yeah, same thing with even the slower pistol rounds. You know, you shoot through a windshield, you're always trained to shoot a little low because it's almost I don't want to say almost always, but chances are it's going to go upwards. Once it penetrates that window, it goes up. So I would have to agree. The heavier round would go straight through.
Yeah, car doors, steel, just basic urban penetration testing, I would call it. The 7.62, the 30 caliber round, just does a better job. However, if you don't have to deal with the urban environment, go with the 5.56. The round is not the biggest selling point for me when it comes to AKs. That's not why I own them. I do like the round versus the 5.56, but that's not. It's some people say it for them. It is for me. It's training. I've used AKs a lot, and you're going to be hard pressed to find anybody who gives you the honest opinion of the difference in the two rifles that the AK is on average more reliable in the long run. Especially if you aren't able to take care of your rifle like you should.
I wouldn't argue that, even though I'm an AR guy. But at the same time,
at the same time, drop out.
It goes out.
Here, my impression of TR. The reason I like the AK over the AR is.
I was about to say, damn it, Matt has gained hacking capability. As soon as I started talking about AR, he kicked me off my own fucking chat. No, I mean, I agree with you. I mean, I've read articles from years ago. I've actually seen shooting tests where they were testing like brush busting bullets and stuff, and setting up dowel pins around dark targets and shooting 308, 30-30s, and the heavier bullet won out. I mean, the one that in the test they done, I mean, it still deflected. I mean, even a little branch would deflect the bullet, but the one that deflected it least was the heaviest bullet, that they shot. It actually ended up being a 45-70. But it did prove that the heavier the bullet, the less it will deflect, the less it will slow down and all that. So there you go, hands down, 7.62 by 39 is going to win every time. as far as deflection and things like that, shooting through things. I mean, and platform out of the question. I mean, if we had our dream rifle and cheap ammo to shoot, we'd probably all be carrying around a semi-automatic 308.
Oh yeah, yeah, probably, or an RPK.
Mm-hmm. Either one. You know, something that, you know, like a M14 or a, like you said, RPK, something like that. 7.62 by 50, what is it? What is it? 7.62.
54.
54. Yeah, 54. Yeah, that's a hard hitting round.
Yeah, it is. I tell you what, if you're ever wondering about AR-500 body armor, when you see an AR-500 back plate take over a dozen rounds of 54R, yeah, your insides are mush at that point, but you don't have a hole in you. That's selling point right there. Done.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I bought my armor from AR-500, and they put out videos all the time. They're just shooting all kind of shit at it. I mean, it's not the most expensive body armor, and it was I only paid $200 for it, but it was the Condor, you know, Condor plate carrier with the AR-500 plates in it, with the new spackle paint or whatever they do put on it, you know, for splay. But it was the best $200 I hope I never use.
Yeah. Well, that's why I made that video, why I choose AR-500. You know, body armor over the lightweight variant alternatives. It takes more hits, and it's going to last you longer.
And if you read into that AR-500, the only reason that they're basically not cranking the price up, which I'm glad they're not, is what the hell is the system of rating that you have to pay the federal government to say this will stop this? They refuse to get it tested for, I forget what the hell it was. Oh, help me out, Matt. It's a rating for a scale.
Ratings?
Yes, they refuse to get that because they don't want their product to go up in price. But it's far superior than most of the other body armor out there.
It's level 3. It's equivalent to the NIJ3 AR-500 is. I've done tests. I did that video a year or two ago, TR, where I shot pistol at it, then I shot an AK at it, then I shot a Mosin at it, and yeah, I mean, just when you can take multiple hits from a Mosin, that's yeah, you might as well be wearing a tank. I mean,
Yeah, really. Yeah, that's the thing, and I agree with you. I mean, your inside, it won't be like the movies where you just, you know, like fall down and get up and keep shooting. Maybe if somebody shoots you with a 38 or something, maybe. But if you get hit by a high-powered rifle, center chest, center mass, with the plate on, you probably won't die, but you probably have some broke ribs. You're going to be out for a little while, but like you said, you won't have a hole in you.
well, if you remember the test that I did, I built that frame with 5/16 wooden dowel rod going across it. And I soaked the dowel rods, I clamped them to the curved body armor so they had the same curvature like your body does, screwed them in, clamped the plate to that, and it only cracked one throughout the whole test. Now, I'm not saying your body's not going to do. I'm not saying that you're only going to have one broken rib. You may have none. You may just. I guess it really depends on where you get shot, how much padding you have on underneath it, so on and so on. But and that was with a bath towel behind it, a double-layered bath towel to simulate clothing, body tissue, you know, even the padding in your plate carrier. But I was pretty happy with that. I mean, it rocked the wooden frame a little bit, but it only cracked one of those pieces of 5/16.
Yeah, like I say, I mean that's what it's there for, to save your life. It's not to keep you from getting injured. Period. It's to save your life. And that center mass hit, you know what it protects. that's your vitals, you know, and it's not that you can't get killed, you know, but at the same time, it's one of those things that when I bought it, it was like, okay, I'm buying this. I hope I never have to use it. I hope it sits here and collects dust the rest of my life. But if that time comes, I'm going to have some protection to at least have a chance if I do get hit, you know, and I trust it with my life. If I get hit, at least where that plate is, you know, as long as, I mean, there's a lot of scenarios and things that, you know, whatever, but it gives me a chance to keep on, you know, and that's all we can ask for. Trying to read the chat, sorry. But yeah, the AR-500, you can't beat that. I wouldn't even want the ceramic in a shithead fan situation because it's damn near a one-time use. If you did get hit, well, it's damn near useless then. I mean, it's not useless, but damn near. If you get hit in that area again, there ain't nothing there.
Yeah, Hunts for Food is asking how long is AR-500 armor good for? 5 years? Question mark. I don't have that answer. As long as it's not rusted through would be my first answer. If you go back, I think it's 2 years ago now. It might be only a year, but I think it's 2 years ago now that I did that test video with that AR-500 backplate. And it's been sitting in the back of my truck since. I use it as a target now, a steel target. I mean, it's got well over 100 rounds. It's probably got over 200 rounds. And it's got a little dent in it, but I'd still stick it in my plate carrier if I needed it. If I needed to, I'd still trust my life to it. But it's all freaking rusty, and you know the backside where it's always laying down, water collecting out of there. I mean, it's almost scaly rust, and it still stops rounds. So I don't know the actual lifespan. Steel's lifespan is really until it deteriorates or chemically changes because of heat or extreme cold. So I would say as long as it's not rusty, you keep it oiled, and you don't damage it, extremely damage it, I would say the lifespan is forever.
Yeah. Galen asked what type of steel AR-500 is using. J. Greg Campbell answered him AR-500. That is the name of the type of steel it is. It has nothing to do with AR-15s or anything like that. That is the type of steel it is. You know, like N2, N5, whatever. There's all kind of names for steel and stuff, but that type of steel is AR-500. That is the name of the steel. And like Matt said, as far as I know, it would last forever until you allowed rust to get to it and it finally rusted through. It is a tool grade steel. It's not your average steel.
D. Vincent W2 says, does anyone have any opinion on dragon skin? It's expensive. That's all I really know about it. I've seen testing videos, just like anybody else probably has, but I don't know a whole lot about it. I don't know anybody that has it, so. Galen says stainless steel won't rust. That's actually untrue. Stainless steel will rust. Stainless steel, well, J. Greg Campbell says, yes, Galen, it will rust if you do not store it correctly, but a wire brush will take the surface rust off and oil it down. That's true also if it heats up. The thing about stainless steel has a high nickel content and a very, very low carbon content. But if you let stainless steel even sit out in the sun too long, you know, for when I say too long, I mean years, or hit it with a torch, it brings all that carbon, what carbon is in it, to the surface, and it will get surface scale on it. It will rust. All stainless steel will rust.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah, I agree because I've seen stainless steel rust many times. It's not that it's rust less. It's just rust resistant. It would be more accurate. I mean, how many people have a stainless steel sink in their house and left a Brillo brush or a SOS pad in the sink and then it rusted? You could clean it off, but it's still rusted. And there's a lot of stainless steel out there, because I was under the impression really good stainless steel wasn't magnetic, but I see stainless steel tables all the time that are magnetic as hell.
Yes.
So I'm not sure what's going on with that. Because my flute meter, my multimeter, I got a flap. It's got like a little tether on it with a magnet. So when I can just slap it up on a panel when I'm checking voltages, and I lay it down on these stainless steel tables, supposedly stainless steel tables we got at work, and I had to fucking jerk it off the fucking table to get the magnet to let go.
Well, it's an electromagnet then?
No, just a magnet.
Again, the less pure stainless steel has a higher carbon content, making it a higher content of shittier metals in it. So it is magnetic. The really pure stainless steel is not magnetic. It's a rule of thumb test. Like if you have a bunch of bolts in your nut and bolt bin and you're looking for a stainless one, you take a magnet and you start sticking it to them, and the one that doesn't stick is probably stainless. So
well, that was my point. I think there's different grades of stainless steel. Because, like I said, these little tables they got at work, I'm sure they spent the least amount of money they could spend on them, and they're somewhat stainless, but not pure grade A stainless steel, Because I was slapping my magnet up on it, off my flute meter, and I was like, yeah, that's a cheap ass table, talking to somebody at work.
So, like if you are a TIG welder and you have stainless steel filler rod, a magnet won't stick to it. That's really pure stainless. The filler rod is. Whether the material you're using or that you're welding is the really pure stainless or not, the filler rod is. But anyway, yes, it can rust. Somebody out there keeps asking. Oh, the Fat Man asked about his 2007 double Kevlar vest. Is it worth a shit? Well, 2007, I would say no. I don't trust Kevlar outside of 4 years. And I don't think double Kevlar will stop a rifle round, will it?
No.
Yeah.
Even the flak jackets I had when I was in Desert Storm, which were Kevlar, they didn't even call them bulletproof vests. They were just flak jackets, which may not be the same thing as Class 1 or Class 2. I don't even know what class they were. But they said they would probably deflect a glancing blow, but they would not take a straight-on shot.
No, and we've taken our old vests at work and we've set them up at the range. We've even shot some as old as 12 years, and for your basic pistol rounds, your 9s, your 45s, your 40s, it'll still stop them. I've yet to see one. 12 years old is the oldest vest we've shot, and none of the pistol rounds still penetrated. But it's they have a shelf life for a reason, because it starts deteriorating, the Kevlar starts pulling apart inside, and again, even if you're storing it the best you can, it's going to draw moisture, and that's what breaks those down the worst. Yeah,
Fat Man. If you've ever worn it, like to train in or shoot in or just screw around in, and you've sweated in it, you've accelerated the breakdown process. I think the cops back home, I think they traded theirs out every 3 years.
Yep, ours is every 4.
Every 4? Okay, yeah. And half the time they may or may not have had them on, but they were still, if they weren't on, they were stored in the trunk of the car. And that's, I mean, hell, that's about as bad as anything else.
Matt has a ghost. That back door just swung itself open. Look, it's still going.
1, 2 cats.
Yeah.
They're little short furry ghosts. Oh, he seems upset now. Fat Man, it may or may not be still good. I wouldn't suggest testing it because then it's not going to be any good. But I think I saw a comment out in the chat room earlier that says I'd rather have a vest than no vest. I mean, if it's what you got right now, it's what you got. But I know for a little bit more than half of that price, for around $150, $160, you can pick up a front and back plate carrier, just a basic front and back with 10 by 12 plates in it.
Yeah, in your standard.
What's that?
I was gonna say your standard Kevlar, we're paying about $800 to $900 for top quality. So, and that's not gonna stop your rifles.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, if you get on into the 2 to 250 range, you can get the full, plates. So I know what you're talking. You're talking about that. I've seen you do videos on that where it's a little bit smaller plates, which probably protects the Bibles, no doubt.
So they're 10 by 13s.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I don't know what size mine is.
Yours are probably 10 by 13 or 10 by 12. Those are the two most common sizes.
Mm-hmm.
I'm talking about just the throwover though. It doesn't have side plates. It's just a front and back with clips on the sides with a 10 by 12 or 10 by 13 in the front, 10 by 13 in the back. No pouches, nothing else, just a slick. But you can get those for under 180. Let's just put it that way for that. Yeah,
I don't doubt it. The one I got, it came with like 2 mag pouches, a pistol fucking carrier, or pistol holster. So yeah, that makes sense. And it was 200. It was 200 flat. So yeah, without the extra shit, yeah, I can see that. 160, 180 bucks, something like that.
Hunts for food. I think I know I answered this, but maybe he didn't hear me. No, I've not shot the DDI AK yet. I want to though. He keeps asking, and he must not have heard me. No, I've not shot it yet. I want to though.
Fat Man, before you start testing that vest on yourself, just YouTube it. Many people have done it in the past. There's some win stories, and there's also some epic fail stories where they've had their buddies shoot them with the vest on, and it penetrated, and yeah.
All right, I get half a bottle of tequila. You can put it on, and I'll test it out on you. Oops, fuck, I missed. No, I wouldn't do that, Fat Man. I can't imagine somebody testing out bulletproof body armor.
Well, look at the founder of what was it, Second Chance Body Armor. Back in the day, whenever that first came out, that man shot himself so many times, and now I think they're going out of business because there was a huge lawsuit because something happened with their I don't know, probably 3-4 years ago. I remember something coming out where there was a major defect and they kind of hit it to the back and people were dying using that vest. But when that first come out and they were trying to make the money, man, that guy was out there shooting himself all the time.
I've often, and I mean often, considered, there's like 2 people that I have in my head right now that I've stood in front of and said, and gave serious consideration to go ahead and shoot me with your pistol. With my plates on, I've given serious consideration to it. Just, I don't know why. I wouldn't have a good answer if you asked, but I've never done it.
About the closest I've ever done to that is me and a buddy of mine were shooting pistols at 100 yards, and we couldn't hit this fucking target. We couldn't figure out. We was aiming too high is what it was, but we didn't know it at the time. And finally, in which no matter what, he couldn't hurt me anyway. But I went down near the target, stood behind a tree, and was letting him shoot while I was trying to see on the target where he was hitting, because I was trying to figure this, the arc out and shit. And but he was like one of the few guys I'd let do that. Even if he hit the tree, he wouldn't have hit me. I mean, it was a big old fucking tree. But just the fact that I trusted him enough and I was safe, but I still wouldn't have done that with anybody. So I understand where you're coming from, Matt.
Yeah, it's been close. It's really close. Like, it's been right there. I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna say, go ahead and shoot me. I'm gonna say it. Nah, I'm not gonna say it.
Nope. Not gonna happen over here. I don't trust anybody.
We had somebody get killed here. I say recently, at least within the past year. Some 20-something-year-olds, which I'm sure they wasn't responsible. 20-something years old because they tried that. One of them got his buddy to shoot him while he had a vest on, and he missed the vest, killed the boy. So yeah, I think it come out to be a stink. I don't know. But anyway, that was the story, that he had a bulletproof vest. I don't know if it was Kevlar, AR. I don't know what kind of vest it was, but it was supposedly, they thought it was bulletproof. And when the other one shot him, hit him somewhere other than the vest, and it killed him. So I'm sure it was fucking meth heads, but anyway.
It's a good drug.
Let's see here. The Fat Man says I've done that with pellet guns. We used to have pellet gun fights all the time when I was a kid. I remember, I don't know, I was 13, 14 years old, smoking cigarettes. Had a cigarette hanging out of my mouth, and from across the garage, my buddy and I, we took turns doing this, hanging a cigarette out of our mouth, trying to shoot the cherry off the end of the cigarette with our BB guns. That was so stupid.
Yeah, he still got both eyes. That's a damn wonder.
He wore his sunglasses. Protection.
You'll shoot your eye out, kid. Anybody? Got the reference to that?
Oh, no, I got that. Everybody has that reference.
Yeah.
Hell, go ahead.
BC Truck says Jerry Mikulik booted him a few years ago for firing too rapidly on his range. The fastest shooter in the world got kicked you because you were shooting too fast?
I don't even understand a shooting range having a rule that you can't rapid fire. I don't understand that. I just don't get it. It's like, well, that's why I come here, to shoot my fucking gun. I can shoot it. Shouldn't I be able to shoot it as fast as I want, or fast as I can? I guess maybe where people keep shooting and they're shooting the fucking ceiling and fucking shoot through the roof. Maybe, I guess I get that. But I don't know.
That only happened to me when I shot an Uzi, a full auto Uzi. That sucker went straight up. I was like 15. Yeah,
it's a lot to control at 15. And you don't know when to let go of the trigger if you're very inexperienced.
Okay, now we're getting into other questions. Does McDonald's count as population control? Uh, it's a chemical weapon
Yeah, biological
being
weapon.
used on us by a clown.
It's a wonder people gain weight from eating at McDonald's because it gives me the shits every time I go there.
You don't get to keep it long enough to gain weight.
I have eaten McDonald's like twice in 2 years, and both times it's like I remember why I don't eat this anymore.
Yeah, BC says actually he's a nice guy, but he was a jerk that day. Yeah.
Well, I agree with what Campbell said. He was just pissed because you were shooting faster than him.
Hello, David.
What's up, buddy?
Enjoyed your podcast today. I only saw about half of it, but what I saw of it, I enjoyed.
Well, I appreciate that. Yeah, I was having some technical difficulties. My normal podcast deal wasn't working for some reason, and I don't know, pain in the ass.
Even the YouTube part that I was watching, it kept like almost like skipping forward or something. I don't know. It was kind of weird. It was like kind of freezing up every once in a while. But that might have just been my internet connection. I don't know.
No, it was mine too. I was noticing that as well. But no, pretty good deal. And I'm working on a deal right now about barriers. So I'm going to do an article because I know a lot of people have been asking about that for a while, about barriers to protect a property or a drive or a house or whatever. So that'll be good.
K-Rail.
Well, like integrating, basically, and that's the thing. I mean, most of the questions that I get in regard to security are usually, okay, I don't have a lot of money. How do I secure a house? Or I don't have a lot of money. How can I set up, barriers around the property or whatever? And surprising, there's two massive misconceptions when it comes to security. One, that there's a solution that's going to work and keep everybody safe, and that's not true. The idea of barriers and security and things of that nature is to create either obstacles to discourage somebody or to buy you time in order to address the threat as it's coming to you. There's a handful of ways you can do that. My favorite mode is in regard to oncoming vehicles or things of that nature. And there's actually some of the cheapest things you can do would be bollards and guy wire. Amazing, cheap, effective. You can even keep helos off of your property by employing guide wire correctly.
I like K-Rails and moats.
And moats and alligators.
Well, hey, you don't have a whole lot of money? Digging a hole is free.
That's true. That's true.
Digging a hole is free.
No, I think probably it's funny because you figure most of your advances are going to be in night, and the idea of say you have a drive and you can employ lights and bollards, but lights in front of the bollards, so the lights are really, really bright, so the people are driving, they're just going to keep on driving and smack right into the bollards. And or, if you don't have bollards, you could use large rocks or boulders or whatever. I mean, it's
Yeah, I forget what they called it when and I bought a bunch of barbed wire. I hadn't put it up, of course, but I think it was Southern Prepper 1 or something was talking. He called it tangle wire or tanglefoot or tangle some shit. Anyway, where you would just run barbed wire, or straight, whatever you had, and just, I mean, just random, you know, high, low, you know, and you would crisscross it and all that, and you could set up a perimeter fairly cheap to tank, like you said, because probably most attacks would happen at night, and it would be enough to slow them down. And you know, I mean, it's not Constantine wire or whatever, but a poor man prepper type of barrier. You can't. There are steps you can take.
Well, and that's an interesting point too. Except for if in a situation like that, that's something that could easily be snipped with like a wire cut or something like that. One of the best ways, in fact, that's good that you say that, because I might want to go ahead and address that in the article. But to do what they call half footers. So you do like a wire. I mean, it can be a straight wire if you don't have barbed wire or whatever, and set them up randomly. You know, whatever. But like, say you have in fact, you can integrate them with low-level bollards. So like, say, let's just hypothetically speaking here, let's say you have a pretty flat piece of land, couple of trees or whatever, but it's a pretty straight drive for you from say position A to your structure. You could integrate really short end bollards. So you figure, you know, get a five foot piece of you know, steel pipe or like railroad ties. You could put 2 feet into the ground, 3 feet up, or 3 feet into the ground, 2 feet up, and then run straight wire about a half a foot off of the ground between the two bollards. So people are running, they're doing whatever, and then of course they're going to trip over that, and you know, that's going to cause an issue. The bollards are going to stop vehicles, not necessarily tanks, but I doubt anybody's going to be dealing with tanks anytime soon. But you do this, you know, over and over and over. You're going to slow that advance. Once the first group of people start tripping over stuff, and the trucks are hitting into bollards, I mean, you're going to slow the advance, because all of a sudden now they have to really look out for what they're doing. Chances are they need to put a light up, so you're going to see lights. It's just these little tricks that go a really long way in regard to perimeter defense. You really don't. It's like, you know, one of the most popular things is a big chain link fence with barbed wire at the top. You don't even need that if you employ some of these other methods. And you can, I mean, it creates a mess ultimately. You know, it works both ways. You'd have to really pay attention to what you were doing as you were getting out, unless you knew what the grid was. But I don't know. Sorry about that.
So no, exactly. That's what he was saying with the. Like I said, I forget the exact term he used for it, because it was random crisscross, overlapping, you know, wire that you would put out at different heights and things. If nothing else, you would cause people maybe to trip over it and cause, you know, they'd make noise. Mm-hmm. I live in a mountainous type environment, and so, you know, they're climbing a hill, they trip, they're making noise. If you got sentries out, okay, now this guy that was trying to be stealthy all of a sudden tripped over something, and like you said, in order for it to cut the wires and stuff, all of a sudden they would have to turn on flashlights and things like this. So you're slowing them down, you're tripping them up. They just can't sneak up real easy, or, you know, for the most part couldn't anyway. So yeah, I mean, just cheap, dirty tricks.
Pits with Ponzi sticks and bear traps.
And alligators.
And I gotta throw in the alligators, man.
You gotta have an alligator.
No, actually, you know, you could be very decorative in this as well. You look at some of these houses, especially high-end houses, where they have concrete or the block planters that they have in their yard, 3 to 5 feet wide, usually around a tree or around a thing of bushes or something like that. But you can do that, and you've pretty much stopped a car. Mm-hmm. If they're 2 blocks high, and it looks nice. It's
true. Yeah, there's a lot of ways to integrate that stuff, but it's funny to me because a lot of people don't think about this stuff, which is interesting. You know, I mean, it's to me, it's a multifaceted situation. I mean, if it depends on ultimately your goal. Are you, especially, but I guess when you're thinking about like a bug-in situation, or uh, you're thinking about riots, or you're thinking about this or that or the other. I mean, these things can be employed relatively cheap, um, highly effective, but again, to buy you time, not necessarily. If somebody really wants to get to you, they're going to find a way to do it. The goal is to slow them down, and obviously make yourself aware. So I mean, you figure a simple, cheap type of sensor alarm, which you can get now relatively cheap. I mean, you could set something like that up. I mean, door locks, it's like door locks. Well, and it's one of the things I want to put out in one of the articles here, but just simply extending your screws into the studs rather than in the frame of the door. Your door, you can completely increase. I mean, probably 4 or 5 fold the security of a door just by using longer screws, putting it into the stud rather than the frame.
I used to be in a organization, and we had on our house AR 500 shutters on our windows that we could open.
Right on. Well, yeah, well, it's like even windows, for crying out loud. I mean, one of the cheapest things you can get is, is in regard to security, is polyester film. Put it over your window. In fact, if you get the right kind, I mean, it'll save you energy and all kinds of stuff. But somebody tries to bash in a window, rather than it just exploding out and having a free access to the home, it just holds it. It's kind of like safety glass. That's essentially what you're doing. You're making safety glass.
If you really want true security, I mean, I'm not talking slow people up. They straight don't make it to your house. You do what David's saying with those poles. You bury them 6 foot out of the ground, 5 foot in the ground, and you just litter your yard with strippers. Nobody will ever make it to your house. They'll never make it to your front door. I promise.
That's awesome. That's true. Well, as long as they're, I guess there's something to be said for any type of stripper, really. Different strokes for different folks, right? Yeah, I don't know. So I don't know where that tangent came from, but there's that.
Well, actually, I mean, we were talking about barrier penetration earlier when it comes to ammo. When it comes to different rounds, somebody out in the chat room asked the difference between 5.56 and 7.62 by 39, and a comparison. I pretty much said, if you're looking for barrier penetration, if you're in an urban situation, I would go with 7.62 by 39. But if you don't have any barriers to worry about, you're going to get more distance out of the 5.56. So it just depends on the situation you're in.
True. Well, and that's a good point too, because when you're thinking about barriers, I mean, you've got, say, you set up your situation with cinder blocks. Cinder blocks are very, very strong, but theoretically could be easily defeated by the certain type of small arms fire. But rocks, on the other hand, so stone walls, things of that nature, are going to be much stronger because the rocks are obviously more dense. So you could integrate concrete and stone, make a stone wall, stone barrier of some type. Yeah, that'll be a good defense, even some of the largest small arms fire.
Well, I've often said that if I ever built my own house, how people put brick like 3 feet up their house, and then the rest of it's sided or wood or whatever, that I would do that, but I would use cinder block instead. But behind it, instead of the standard half-inch OSB that you build a house out of, behind the brick area or the whole house would be 3/4 inch plywood.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. And you know, if you put plywood into your walls, because they don't really do that. I mean, you can literally kick in a wall and make it into another room, even from the exterior anymore, because they don't really use plywood anymore because it's so expensive. But you can secure a room. Plywood's pretty damn durable. Um,
Oh, yeah.
so I mean, yeah, certain rounds can go through it, but I mean, nobody's going to be kicking through it at a very easy pace. So
Well, hell, David, some of these homes that are built in bulk amounts, they don't put wood on them at all anymore. Uh, they
board.
no, they OSB, or particle board, but they OSB the corners. The rest of it is blue board, foam blue board.
Oh wow.
You can actually get into these homes with a razor knife.
Hmm.
Let Blue's got to jump out. Blue, you want to say goodbye, outro, anything?
No, that's it. I just it's 11 o'clock and that's my bedtime, unless it's a weekend, which this is not. So, got to get up tomorrow and support some people. So that's it. Again, just real quick, that giveaway ends on the 25th, and it's nothing major. It's just it's a Condor. I think it's a Condor pack. It comes with some med gear, fire starter stuff. There's a couple knives in it, that type of deal. So get in it if you guys are interested.
All right. Good. Glad you could jump in, Blue.
All
Always
right,
a
have a good
pleasure,
night.
man.
Later, Blue.
Yeah, but I've seen those houses you're talking about, Matt. You're right. I mean, the only place there would be any OSB, plywood, or whatever is the corners for support. And the rest of the house, I mean, you could literally, with a knife, just cut your way at door. You know what I mean? Because there's the hardest thing you would have to go through is the vinyl siding and the sheetrock. And in between that is just some foam insulation.
Yep.
I saw somebody out in the chat said something about, one of the things you can do is get rid of shrubs around your house where people can hide. That's true. However, one of the other things, shrubs can actually be a part of your barrier defense. The trick is to keep them short and to keep them thorny. As long as they're not in a position to hide behind them, I mean, you would integrate several different things here. You could integrate lights, thorny shrubs, and a proper trimming technique, and you're going to have yourself a pretty stout defense there in regard to those shrubs, especially around windows. If your windows are, for instance, you got the short shrubbery with these really thorny type shrub, I guess, that becomes a pain in the ass for anybody trying to get in through that windows. But you're right, if it's tall, they can hide around them. But of course, integrating light, you illuminate the thing, and of course, obnoxious lights are a good thing.
Or you could keep those tall shrubs, which is a lure. People want to hide behind them and put bear traps between your bushes.
And an alligator.
Well,
Or a hole in your wall where you can put your rifle out. That's funny.
and little pits with bungee sticks.
And Oompa Loompas with an attitude.
Right.
That's funny.
So the chat room wants to be clear. You're talking about short and horny, right?
Right.
Well, America is so, well, hell, I mean, even between where I live and where you guys live, I'm not sure exactly where David lives or exactly where Matt lives, but I know he lives in Arizona. The defensive techniques that need to be used kind of vary for everybody. I mean, what works for me ain't going to work for you, and what works for you may not work for me. So, I mean, you have to kind of do your research and figure out. I mean, but at the same time, there are ways to do these things on a budget.
Yeah. Yeah. Most certainly. Lights. David was mentioning lights. Lights are probably your easiest thing. Anything that creates a shadow is probably your easiest thing. And least, I don't know how to put it, least destructive to the property. You know, you start burying poles and things of that nature. You know, you got these steel poles sticking up in your yard. But, you know, floodlights on your house, lights that line your driveway, lights that line your front sidewalk going up to your front door, lights in your bushes. You can buy them at Walmart. They're $10. They're solar powered. You stick them in the ground. They're little spotlights. They actually work really well. Not the little sidewalk lights, not the little tiny sidewalk lights. Those are junk. But they make black ones that look like little spotlights. You stick them in the ground, and you can light up a lot of stuff with those.
Yeah, and I would also too. One of the things that that I would stress would be the lack of like constant lighting. You know, like say for instance you're gonna take off, don't leave a light on. That's a red flag. Um, you know, the motion sensor lights, those are good. Those are cheap now. Um, Floodlights, things of that nature, and also too cross pattern lights where you can illuminate certain areas that are going to be trouble spots. I think that's going to be pretty big for security reasons and identification, especially from the road. But it's funny. One of the things I pointed out in the article, one of the articles that I'm posting here, one of the best things you can do for home security is to simply lock your door. Statistically speaking, it's people who don't lock their stuff up that fall victim. So, like the vast majority.
There used to be a show, and I think it was on the Discovery Channel. It was on for 2 or 3 years, and it was called "It Takes a Thief." You guys remember that show?
Huh.
It was two guys who formerly been in prison for being home invaders, and they have turned their lives around, and they now run a security company helping people fortify their homes. And what the show was it was a before and after. Basically, they contracted with people, said, at some point in time this month, we're going to break into your house. And people would say, okay. And they'd have, you know, GoPros on and a camera crew and things of that nature. But they'd find somebody's house and break into it. And be sitting in the house or on the front porch or something like that when they got home that night or the next day and go, okay, this is where you screwed up. You left a ladder sitting next to the house and you had an unlocked window upstairs. You know, so I was able to get right up on the roof, crawl right in, you know, blah, blah, blah. And it's a really good show. I'm sure you can find it somewhere, either to download or you know, watch reruns of it. But there's actually a lot of good information, and I think they canceled the show because there was too much good information in it. I think it was actually teaching people how to be thieves by accident. Yeah, and anybody that is interested in home security, I would seriously suggest watching that show. Things that are so simple, like don't leave your trash cans next to your house. Take them in the garage, because somebody can climb onto it and get to a higher window. You know, make sure your tool shed's locked, because there's a lot of tools in there to break into your house. You know, and so on. And then of course, like what David said, there were some people, they walked right up to the house and walked right in the front door because the front door was unlocked.
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, but I guess that's what Is it people take that kind of stuff for granted, I guess. Yeah, the two easiest places of entry are the front door and the back door usually, because they're unlocked.
I mean, I kind of live back, I won't say back in the woods deep, but I kind of live back in the woods. I still lock my car up, or my truck up. I don't have a car, but my truck in the driveway. And it's like, most people wouldn't even walk up my driveway because it's about a damn 200-foot fucking climb, you know, to get up it. But I still lock it. I lock my doors. I mean, I'm just into that habit of locking everything up. I mean, keep you know honest, keep everybody honest. Don't just leave shit open. You know, I know it's a different time, and there was a time where you didn't lock your stuff up, but I got in the habit of locking everything up, so that's what I do now. Even I could probably leave my house and not lock my house up, and nobody ever break in. But why give them an open invitation, even though they can break a window out and get in? But still,
When I walk into my house, when I shut my door, as a habit, I lock my deadbolt. You know, I don't know. One of the examples I use in, because just because you're home doesn't mean that you're safe.
Well,
You know, I used the Wichita Massacre as an example in one of the articles that I'm going to post. Um, you know, these people were home. There were multiple people at home, and the Carr brothers walk in, and basically the whole night these people were brutalized. They were robbed individually. They were taken to their banks, brought back. They were stuffed into closets and all this. I mean, it was crazy. And then they ended up being taken out into a field and shot individually, all right next to it. I mean, it was crazy. Where, had their door been locked, they could have bought some time. They could have maybe gotten away, called the cops, been able to respond aggressively with weapons or whatever. I mean, it's insanity. You never know, and when you take your safety for granted, that is when you are most vulnerable.
Hell, most times I have a gun on me in the house.
Mm-hmm.
I even did a video about that. It was cheesy and corny, but I just showed the difference in reaction time, where I had space buns sitting on the computer in the living room, and the scenario was I kicked in the front door. Obviously, I didn't do that for lack of damage, so I just walked through the front door. But I had my shotgun. Walked in, basically pointed the shotgun at her, and she didn't have a gun on her. She was dead. But in the second scene, she had the pistol. I can't remember if she had the pistol on her hip or at least sitting on the table with her. And when I kicked the door in, the noise alerted her. She turned and was able to fire before I was. I mean, it's that simple.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so take that door scenario. You change the screws, instead of a 1-inch screw, you switch it to a 3-inch screw, put it onto the, that way it's drilled into the stud rather than the frame. And instead of a single kick, now it's 3 or 4 kicks, maybe even more depending on the type of door or what have you. But there's a whole lot more energy that has to be used for that door, and that gives you just that much more time to be able to respond to it. It's those type of details. I mean, you're absolutely right. It's those types of details that can ultimately save your life.
You can get the extended, you said deadbolt. I do the same thing, by the way, David. We have a cage door, like a steel door, and then our entry door, and the deadbolt on both of them get locked right behind me when I walk in. But you can also buy the extended deadbolts. They're like an inch longer than, maybe a half-inch longer than your standard deadbolt, and they just go deeper into the wall. And the difference is kicking out. Some people may or may not know this, but your pre-hung doors have a 1-inch piece of strip of pine around it. And usually your deadbolt doesn't go much farther than that. The extended deadbolt goes through that pre-hung piece of pine into the 2x4 structure that is surrounding your door. And yeah, forget about it. You're not kicking it open.
Makes a huge difference. Or, you know, they may try another route, you know, which that's what I'm saying. You know, some of the cheapest things can ultimately provide you the time necessary to do whatever it is that you got to do, be it make a phone call or arm yourself or whatever the situation is. You know, you put polyester film on your window. You got the extra security in regard to your door, your deadbolt, your screws. You know, those two things right there can provide you enough time and or enough warning. I mean, you're kicking down a door, that's going to make a lot of noise. You bash a window in 2 or 3 times in order to get it off of the frame. You know, you're going to make a lot of noise. Every time that noise, you know, occurs, it gives you just a little bit more time to be able to grab a firearm or grab a weapon or make a phone call or whatever the situation is. I wouldn't personally recommend the route of making a phone call, but you know.
And something I have, and this wouldn't work for everybody, because if you live in a community, it probably wouldn't work. You know, a little housing development. But for me, I got a driveway sensor. I bought it Harbor Freight. It was, you know, $15-20. If somebody passes it, it's like a doorbell going off in my house.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, granted, sometimes animals get in front of it, but every time it goes off, I go look out the window. You know, I set it up high enough to where it's more like if somebody was walking or a vehicle, so you know, a little chipmunk or something would set it off. And sometimes animals do set it off, but for the most part, it does a really good job for $20 or less. And I know if somebody come up my driveway.
And you can hook those to a floodlight,
Mm-hmm.
like at the end of your driveway or something. So when it gets tripped, boom, right in the face.
Yep. And I plan on getting more of them, and you know, or at least for different times, maybe setting them up. But I experimented with that one, and I was amazed how well it worked. You know, especially like if I just sitting here at the computer on my day off, and it ding ding, look out the window, and it was a UPS man. You know, very seldom does anybody drive up my driveway. So, but I mean, it really works good, and it was just like I said, $15 or $20 or whatever. I mean, simple little things. I don't know if I got off subject there, but stuff like that you can use that kind of thing for a pre-warning, and that's all you're asking for is a pre-warning.
I prefer a T-Rex, but that's just, you know.
The only problem with the T-Rex is their tiny little arms.
I know they got to bend over so far to grab stuff. I mean, all they do is like scream.
But they're fast.
And they're taller than your house, so it's not like somebody's not going to see it. I mean,
See, and if we were going to go that route, I'd have to go Velociraptor, because I think that, you know, the stealthiness, you know, the teamwork, all the things that they got going on there, plus an alligator.
Plus an alligator. You got to have, and 2 chickens.
Sure. Yeah, I'm all right. I can go with that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe a llama.
And a Bigfoot.
And a big, well, of course.
You got to have the Sasquatch, man.
Well, that goes without saying. I mean, why would you even mention that? I mean,
I felt silly bringing it up. It was so obvious. I felt silly bringing it up, but you know, just in case the people out there, you know, weren't aware, Sasquatches make excellent deterrents in your front lawn.
It's true. It's true. I don't know how the chickens fit in there, but
And a pterodactyl.
a pterodactyl.
Well, you got to have
Air,
your own
air
drone
support.
surveillance. Yeah.
Yeah, air support.
So I don't know. I'd have to lean a little bit more towards like the saber-toothed tiger.
Ooh.
I mean, that just looks cool. I mean,
Yeah.
how many people can say that they're really pimping a saber-tooth?
No. Yeah. You'd be the only guy on the block. That's for sure. Yeah. Just lace your whole property with poison ivy. Done.
And poison oak, poison
Yeah.
sumac. Your property looks so It was a bitch to plant.
And chickens.
And chickens.
Yeah. I guess what we're trying to say, people, is home security is nothing to be joked about.
It's time to get serious about it.
Yeah. So go to your local Tractor Supply and pick yourself up some Velociraptor eggs. Get started on that home protection.
See, now Blues Girl just takes it to a whole new level. I mean, Godzilla? I mean, now we're just taking it to an extreme here. I mean, home security it's serious business, but, I mean, at some point you can't overdo it.
Yeah, well, you got to feed it. You got to think
Yeah.
about that. I mean, that's too much resources.
A couple chickens isn't gonna work on a Godzilla.
Yeah.
Plus, where are you gonna get the radioactive? I mean, now you're just breaching international law and a lot of scrutiny on yourself. I don't know. I'd frown against that. Plus, I mean, I understand they're friendly, but the smallest move could be deadly to you. Giving your Godzilla a kiss, for instance, kiss goodnight. I mean, that could just be the end of you.
Yeah. Well, this is why we go with T-Rexes and Raptors, because it's far more economical, really, and safer.
Scalability. I mean, you can move your T-Rex if you move, but your Godzilla is going to destroy everything on the move. I mean, now you're responsible. You have insurance problems. I mean,
It just gets insane at that point.
it does. Chickens, T-Rexes, and gators. I mean, let's keep it within the realm of reality, folks.
Yeah, let's keep this real. Godzilla, what kind of crazy shit is that?
Now you're just going too far.
They're just crazy talk.
Although, if you got a big enough plot of land,
Like 5 acres,
at least,
at least.
that's just for them to take a dump.
Yeah. But think about the nitrogen-rich soil that you're going to have. Your garden's going to be incredible. Yeah, good point. Godzilla, I'm a go. I didn't think about the gardening element.
Yeah, but it'd also be radioactive.
True. But I don't know. Maybe it depends on how you feed it. I don't know.
And but on a serious note, there are a lot of wireless and wired security systems, like camera systems out there. 2 camera, 3 camera, 5 camera, that are actually pretty reasonable as far as price goes. You can hook them right to your computer, hook them to your TV. They got DVRs in them. They'll record all day long and then then record back over, or only record during motion. Infrared, so and so. Night Owl is a good company.
I don't know if y'all have them where y'all at, but I know we have the Harbor Freight, which is like they sell tools and shit like that. They have a system like that. It was 4 or 5 cameras and a DVR for like $250, $300, something like that. I mean, that's a little chunk of money, but actually for what it does, that's not a bad deal if you catch it on sale.
Yeah. And to answer Tyler East, what about the chupacabra? That's why you get that's why you get the security system, so you can catch the chupacabra on film.
Mm-hmm.
You can sell that and afford your Godzilla.
Like a trade up.
All right, it's been a couple hours. We'll go ahead and end this. And we're getting a little silly anyway. Not really, because
Remember, teach your llama ninja skills responsibly.
Because I'm thinking T-Rex. I don't know. What was the other one? What's the little ones?
Velociraptors?
Velociraptors. Yeah, I think that would be, because they could go out and scurry for food on their own, get a few squirrels and rabbits and shit. So probably good guard dogs. You know.
Raptors, Godzilla, all that stuff, child's play. Handful of spiders.
Whoa.
Handful of spiders. You get 10 spiders walking at you down the driveway.
Like tarantulas?
No, just spiders, just house spiders.
Do they have ninja skills?
Well, that's why you have them in a group.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah.
I'm tracking.
Yeah. If you had one spider, then yes, you want them to watch plenty of Bruce Lee stuff. But if you have a group of spiders, it only takes a group of spiders to really freak somebody out. They can be drunk spiders at that point, just as long as they're moving in that general direction.
Yeah, I mean, they could take a sniper out. You know, you got that sniper that's aimed right at your fucking head, and that spider starts crawling up he's done. He's freaking out. He's done shit on himself and screaming and yelling and all that.
It's been a good chat tonight, guys.
Yeah. I had fun, especially at the end there. That was pretty cool. But I'll let y'all do a outro. David, do you want to do an outro? Promote your podcast and anything else you got going on?
Sure. All right. So Monday, Tuesdays, an American Morning radio podcast is on. We simulcast on YouTube. For those of you who like the video chats, be sure to check that out. AmericanMorning.com. We've got a leadership series starting out and a small security series that will be posted here. Happens on Wednesdays and Saturdays, or when those will come. Those will be separate from, of course, the political, the podcast, the economics, etc., etc. But by popular request, I guess, is why those are happening, and that'll happen from tomorrow through the end of the year. So twice a week you'll get some sort of information in that regard. So be sure to check that out. Once again, www.americanmorning.com. Thanks for having me on, brother.
No problem. And buy the damn book. Buy the book. You forgot that.
Oh, yeah.
Matt, you got anything to say?
Yeah, Matt from Resist the Tyranny here on YouTube, resistthetyranny.com. Actually, it's Resist the Tyranny, Guns, Beer, and Politics now. I keep forgetting that. Thanks. Yeah, it was. Actually, we got to talk about a lot of stuff tonight. It only got goofy there at the end. But David brings that out in this stuff, you know. Speaking of David, don't forget to check out on Amazon.com, Reloaded, an American Warning, the book, $19.98. Not a big cost. Get it paperback if you want, $28 and some change for hardcover, $3.99 for the Kindle copy. So check out an American Warning, Reloaded, the book by David Robertson.
Hell of an endorsement. Thank you.
That's all I got. Oh, November 7th, I am doing my next live show, a prepper special, where we're going to go through what TR is holding up, the conflicted card set, where it has a ton of questions that you test your prepping pals with, scenarios, what they would do and not do, and things of that nature. So we're going to go through that card deck November 7th on my channel. The invites will be sent out. I'm currently, actually prior to coming on tonight, I was working on the banner for the invite page or the event page. So be on the lookout for that, guys.
Yep, I look forward to it. I think we could probably actually make a series of chats just on that, because I doubt we'll go through too many cards in a couple of hours, talking about different scenarios and stuff, and just devoting it to prepping in different scenarios. I think when we have talked about that, doing that, we actually had a really big response in the live comments. People were looking forward to that, so I'm looking forward to it too. So anyway, thanks everybody for coming by and hanging out with us. Always a good time, whether we're serious or goofing off. Either way, we all have a good time. We always touch on some serious subjects, and every once in a while we get goofy, but that's all good. And with that, see you next week, next Tuesday. I'll be here, and don't forget to check out Sunday night's chat. I'll be here then too for the round table. So later, everybody.